Hello again. I rested up a little bit and I thought I would show you how to make my cinnamon crispies. Voy a hacer mis buñuelos, ya descansé un poquito y quería hacer mis buñuelos para que estuvieran para mañana, a ver si voy por una leche para hacer el champurrado, para darles a mis hijas y a ver a quién más. So, the recipe, la receta para los buñuelos que tengo. Es una receta de mi cuñada Mercedes Barrientos, la cuata, que me dio un pedacito de papel y aquí tiene ella los ingredientes que incluyen los que están aquí. Y también Silvia, mi otra cuñada, la de Jaime, también me dio una receta. Entonces, me dicen que ponga 2 libras de harina. You add about 2 pounds of the flour, the all-purpose flour, maybe a teaspoon of baking powder, una cucharadita de Rexal, y se mezcla los ingredientes secos. I like to add cinnamon to those dry mixtures to give it that brownish tint and give it some more flavor. A mí me gusta ponerle poquita canela molida a la harina para que se pinte cafecita. Y ya que está revuelto todos los ingredientes secos, se agrega como media taza de manteca. Se puede usar también el aceite. You can use either half a cup once you mix the dry ingredients, the flour, the baking powder, and the cinnamon. You could add a half a cup of the shortening or a half a cup of the oil. Either one will do. Then what I did is I took some sugar, poured it in this bowl, and mixed in the cinnamon, and I mixed it up because this is what's going to be sprinkled onto the warm Buñuelos, the Crispies once they come out. Then I took 3 oranges, cut them, and squeezed the juice with my little Mexican juicer here, and squeezed it in here to give it a little bit of tang. That was what my 2 sister-in-laws told me to add. So I added that, mixed it up. I have some hot water that I'm going to grab, and I have some oil already warming up. So I'm gonna go grab my water so that I can mix my dough. So you have to estimate how much water you're going to put on here. So I am mixing the water into the dough, kind of like when you make tortillas. But because it's hot, I mix it in with, you could do a pastry cutter, but I like to use my spatula because it's longer and it's safer not to get burnt. But you could cut it with your regular pastry cutter. So once it's cold, not so burning hot, I can knead it with my hands once it cools off a little bit. So I have to make sure I don't add too much water. So let me see if I can mix it to figure out if there's enough water. Feels like it might be. It is a little warm. There's some flour on the bottom I'm mixing in. So it's just kneading it like you would anything else. I don't know what you need. Bread dough, tortilla masa, tortilla dough. And you mix it in to absorb all the dry flour into the dough. My mom used to tell me that when you can make tortillas or this recipe and you don't leave a sticky bowl, that means you've learned to do this. So I think I'm doing pretty good because it's almost all gone. See? So now I have the dough. The bowl is pretty clean. So I'm going to knead it a little bit. You're supposed to let it sit for a little bit. But I'm going to try to roll one out to show you. This is the basket I prepared to put my buñuelos in. I'm going to put them close to the stove because that's where I need it. Okay, so now I'm going to try to direct this to my counter. I'm going to grab a fork, one of these big forks, to take out the Crispies when they're done. So I take a little bit of dough and I make small little testales or little balls. If you don't know how to do that because it takes practice, you can just make a simple ball to press it out. I like doing my testales. I just got used to that from my mom. So I'm gonna, even though I should keep this to rise, I'm going to try to roll one out so I can show you the whole process. So what I'm going to do is going to add some flour to my counter, which I've already wiped down. Put some flour on my little ball or my testal and roll out. I think people roll these out, let them sit at the table so they can stretch better. I kind of do it all in one step. Maybe when I have more time, I can do the other. Now this masa turned out pretty good because it's nice and speckled. It's got a lot of the cinnamon in here, so I can stretch it out. If it breaks, you try not to, but if it breaks, it's no big deal. So I'm stretching it out so it thins out. Then I'm gonna toss it in the sizzling oil. See how it's frying? I'm gonna do another one while that's baking. I gotta check, make sure it's not burning, just nice golden brown. I also have these tongs too to grab them if I need it, if I need them. So then this one is done too. So I'm stretch it out best I can without ripping it too much. Just kind of stretching to thin it out to where you can see through it. Like I say, if it rips like here, really doesn't matter. I'll flip this one over. It looks like it was done. Trying to get some oil on the parts that weren't so brown. So I'm pressing down to sink that part that didn't get golden brown. I'm just going to do a few. I won't do them all and have you watch because you saw the ingredients, you saw the process. And if I let the flour sit a little bit, maybe they'll be a little bit better. So I'm going to let it sit and then roll out the rest and show you my basket in the morning when I make the champurrado. Entonces no los voy a extender todos, voy a dejar que repose un poquito. Now, voy a sacar el buñuelo. Le voy a poner unas servilletas para que se escurra. So I'm adding some napkins so that when I take out the crispy, it'll drain here. So I'm going to flip this so you can see that I'm letting it drain. It's nice and crispy. Now I'm going to bring it over to this plate. Let it sit. I'm going to toss the other one in while I'm sprinkling the dough. So then I sprinkle the cinnamon sugar mix in while they're hot because that's how the cinnamon sticks. So then it is done. As you can see, cinnamon Crispies, Buñuelos. So then I'm going to fill my basket, put them in there to drain a little bit on the napkins, and just fill my basket with them. And that's how you do them. Not too hard, just takes a little bit of practice. I didn't know how to do any of this. I didn't know how to do any of it when I left home and got married and left my home, my mom, my home. I just learned because I wanted to follow tradition. Yo no sabía hacer nada de esto. Cuando me fui de la casa, que me casé, que nos fuimos a Illinois por 5 años y luego ya en Colorado más de 35 o más años, pero con el deseo de seguir la tradición, me enseñé y ahora ya he aprendido a hacer lo que mi madre hacía, comidas tradicionales. Espero que mis hijas también ellas las han hecho tamales y piñatas y champurrado y tratan, aunque les falta práctica como a mí. No me salían al principio, pero sí están haciendo la lucha. So that's how you make the cinnamon Crispies. Así es como se hacen los buñuelos. Entonces, están bien ricos. Really good. So they're good, nice and warm. When I went to Morelia, my friend and I, Cristina, were walking the streets of Morelia and had these with some kind of syrup. They were so good. Walking the streets at midnight, watching all the performances for Day of the Dead. And I just don't know how to make that syrup. But here's my second one. Look how pretty they look. And so now, again, ya salió el segundo. Está calientito. Le pongo el azúcar, la canela, to one side, then the other. And then just add it to the basket. Y lo va agregando uno a la canasta y termina uno y ya lo puedo envolver en aluminio con un moñito y también se hace otro regalito o se regala a las hijas. Bueno, espero les haya gustado. Mañana verán esta canasta llena con el favor de Dios. De veras que salieron bien ricos. Gracias a mis cuñadas por darme las recetas, por mi madre por darme la tradición. Así que espero, ustedes yo sé que los hacen, muchas latinas, mis primas en México, en Texas, las hacen, mis cuñadas también. Cada quien lo hace a su manera. Pero así es como yo las hago. Espero les haya gustado. Me despido porque voy a terminar las otras y mañana les enseño cómo hago el champurrado. ¿Ok? Buenas noches. Que descansen. Ojalá que hayan tenido un lindo primer día de año nuevo. Que Dios me los bendiga. I hope you had a great day. If you want to make these, they're not that hard. It just takes a little practice. So I'm going to go. I am going to finish doing these, and I'll show you my basket, which should be pretty full tomorrow while I make my Mexican, I don't know how you say it in English. It's champurrado. It's like a thick malt or hot cornmeal with corn and chocolate. Just really good stuff from Mexico, also traditional for this time. Bueno, buenas noches. Nos vemos y gracias por acompañarme. Bendiciones.